You see, when it comes to when Maniac Cop released, there are basically two schools of thought on
What you got to understand about Maniac Cop 2.
Yeah. It's a very divisive film. You have your 89ers, you have your 90s. Is it an 80s movie? Is it a 90s movie? You know?
You're listening to a Cult Talk Network podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to Cult of Campbell, the return!
The return!
Of Cult of Campbell. We are back after an extended hiatus. We're back for Cultober 2, the return. And today on Cultober, we have another triumphant return.
I feel like you had this planned out somewhere. You wrote this down.
No, I wing it. I'm just a natural entertainer. It is the return of the Maniac Cop, Matt Cordell. It's Maniac Cop 2, Electric Boogaloo. And we also have the return of Lady Cop. And
I didn't watch the first one with you guys, so I remember y'all just calling her Lady Cop.
Hooker Cop. Her cop's what we called her. Hooker Cop. Hooker Cop.
Is she a hooker?
She was undercover as a hooker in the first one.
Okay.
And much like Matt Cordell, the reason that Cult of Campbell has been resurrected for Cultober is because this film has starring, quotes.
I mean, he's in there.
He's in there. Bruce Campbell. As Jack Forrester.
They don't even have him on Wikipedia. They don't even have him listed as a starring those. Oh, no, they do. There he is.
I was going to say, they still market him like he's a star. Like in this one, they still put him in like the top bill credits. And in addition to Hooker Cop and Bruce Campbell and Matt Cordell, of course, we have Robert Davi, who plays our hero.
And we got Claudia Christian.
Yep.
Who is that Hooker?
That's the stripper. That's that's Dr. Cop.
Dr. Cop. Oh,
Dr. Cop.
Michael Lerner.
I don't know who that is.
And he goes Wikipedia.
There's a lot of characters in this movie.
Yeah, because like the whole list, because for their starring, they got the Robert Davi, Claudia Christian, Michael Lerner, Bruce Campbell, Lorene Landon, Robert Z'Dar.
Robert Z'Dar is Matt Cordell.
And Clarence Williams III and Leo Rossi. That's like their starring list. That's a big, for a starring list, that's a long list.
Well, there's a lot of characters in this movie.
There really was, now that I'm thinking about it. They did focus on a lot of people. And it has, again, on here, the release date has as December 13th, 1990. And then, but I've seen things also saying 89. And
yeah,
so
it's conflicting. Is it an 80s movie? Is it a 90s movie?
Is it a Christmas movie or is it a Cultober movie?
I think this qualifies as a Christmas movie. It was Christmas during the movie.
It came out in December. So
December what?
13th.
Oh,
they did that on purpose.
Couple days after my birthday.
Oh, no one cares.
December 11th, 1990. My birthday.
And what was the budget you found for this?
IMDb estimates it at $4 million.
It had to go to the explosions in cars.
Oh, it had to go. This was a good action movie.
It was better than I was anticipating. The way the others were.
That's all I needed to hear. I've been preaching Maniac Cop 2 for over a year now, and I keep telling the guys, "Hey, you should watch Maniac Cop 2," and everyone says, "No, don't watch Maniac Cop 2." But it's so much better than Maniac Cop 1. And full disclosure, I almost had to do this review of myself because everyone else refused, but Mike, being the champ he is, volunteered to do Maniac Cop 2 with me, so I didn't have to do it solo.
And I never even watched the first one, but all my questions from the first one got answered in the second one.
It did a really good job of introducing you to the story of Maniac Cop. They show the ending of Maniac Cop 1.
Yeah.
And they also show you the flashback of how Matt Cordell gets killed.
And even the ending kind of helps tie you up to like how it all came to be anyway.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. But I do want to
get into sequel.
I want to get into there's 4 taglines that IMDb offers.
Okay, let's hear them.
So the one that's like on the cover predominantly is like, you have the right to remain silent forever. Again.
Okay.
You'll be screaming blue murder.
All right.
That sounds like a tagline. That sounds like a thing that could be chanted today.
Oh, that sounds like a hashtag for sure. Hashtag blue murder.
Hashtag blue murder. You have the right to remain silent forever.
Okay.
That was lazy. Then keep off the streets because he's back on the beat.
I like that one. I like that one.
That makes sense since there's a rap song at least.
Well, it beats you. That's what they call like when cops are out on patrol. They're on the beat.
Yeah.
Beat cops. So yeah, this is 1990, and even here we're watching on Tubi. Mike, look, Tubi even listed as 1989.
Yeah, see, it's all over the place.
Yeah, is it an 80s movie? Is it an 90s movie? I don't know.
Is it Christmas? Is it?
It's definitely Christmas.
There's Christmas. I mean, Ben would argue. I've been down this path with Ben. There's not enough in there to make it Christmas.
There's a point where Maniac Cop 2 has a wreath on his head. That's classic Christmas iconography, right there.
I don't know if that's enough.
That's classic Christmas iconography right there.
He didn't say ho ho ho.
No one did really. There wasn't any he didn't kill him with a candy cane or.
No one was even worried about all these families without their fathers on Christmas. Or
no one really cared much about anyone dying. It was always like someone died and it was like, yeah, they killed what's the name and.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Damn. Everyone died.
It's horrible. All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to mention before we get into it, I guess?
I don't think so. I will, Maniac Cop, the original episode we did for Cult of Campbell, it is still to this day my favorite episode of Cult of Campbell. Hands down my favorite episode of Cult of Campbell.
It has our reel you put out on it still has our most viewed reel.
Yeah.
People saved it too.
Yeah. It's a fun review. If you guys haven't listened to Maniac Cop, the review of Cult of Campbell, go back and listen to that. Because that is one of my favorites.
I do that reel you did. I do love it. Like, we're having our goddamn parade.
they do. They don't have the goddamn parade.
Fucking Irish parade. What was that? Irish parade?
Yeah, the big Irish cop parade. I don't know. the big parade. There was no canceling it. But I think with that, let's go ahead and let's talk about Maniac Cop 2. Mike, what do we do here?
We get into it.
Fuck you.
Let's get groovy.
Grab your boomstick and fire up the Delta. It's time for ACTION. Join the Cult of Campbell. Groovy.
And if you're lucky a little later, I'll let you play with my boomstick.
And we're back. Mike, is this your first time watching Maniac Cop 2?
Yes, this is definitely my first time watching Maniac Cop 2.
So you've never once thought, man, I should pick up the Maniac Cop 2 series. Maniac Cop series.
I mean, I definitely should have, as much as you boast about it.
I do. Last year, even like when we did Maniac Cop 1, we watched the first 10 minutes of Maniac Cop 2 to review the quality of Campbell. And even in that one, I'm like, oh, this movie's terrible. It sucks. And then one day I was like, for whatever reason, I was cleaning my house, something like that. And the DVDs were out on my shelf because it was like just a week or two after we got done watching Maniac Cop. I threw in Maniac Cop 2 and I was like, my God.
This is brilliant.
They caught traction. They caught tread.
Yeah, because you actually did. I mean, we never put it out or anything, but you did do a review of 2 and 3 in one.
Yeah,
episode.
I did, and we just never released it. I'll probably eventually try to get you to do 3 with me at some point. Oh. We'll have to find a reason for that.
We should try to bring back all the guys for part 3 because that.
Well, you tried to get Urs to be on this episode. Now you seen how that went. Urs flat out refused.
Well, here's the thing. They will believe me.
Yeah. So you're in favor of Maniac Cop 2. I take it. You have positive things to say.
Not to not jump too far ahead, but I would watch this again.
There, podcast over. That's all I needed. That's all I needed. Validation. See,
wrap it up. That's it.
Everyone has this opinion that I only watch bad movies, but no, there are good bad movies. This is a good bad movie.
There are some good characters in this.
There's some solid action in this movie. This movie has the fucking stunt work, the action sequences.
Poor stunt guys in the 80s and 90s.
Oh my God. The stunt guys in this movie fucking went through it, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Especially, okay, so we'll get into it. So it opens with like what part 1 ended on.
Yeah. If you haven't seen Maniac Cop 1, this does you a favor of showing the last 5 minutes, the full last 5 minutes of the first movie.
And Bruce Campbell just busts out of the back of that van and just like that had to hurt. And yeah, it just shows all that, and then it just goes to like how many minutes of credits was that?
Oh, a lot. It's an interesting credit sequence though. It's a very slow pan across this like junkyard full of old cop cars.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. But then we get a shot of the Maniac Cop mobile, which is underutilized in this movie. I will say underutilized, but the Maniac Cop does have a car. He does have a means of getting around. And that's something that he didn't have in, I can't remember if he had one in the first movie or not, if he had a car. I don't think he did.
Yeah, I can't help you. I wasn't there.
Can't.
After you get that glimpse of it, then we jump to this guy in the convenience store, and he's trying to steal some stuff.
Yep. Yeah, we have a crook who's trying to rob a convenience store. He's holding up the convenience store clerk, and they're scratching off lottery tickets. And just so happens they hit $5,000 on this lottery ticket, and they're celebrating. But guess what? Matt Cordell has arrived.
Yeah.
And you think he's going to take out the crook, but no. Turn the tables.
The guy like turned around and just shot.
He did. He turned around and just blasted him.
But he wasn't indicated that he was there, was he? I don't remember like a sound or anything.
No, the convenience store guy was looking over his shoulder.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't like hear anything.
And he just whipped around and shot. And he shoots open the freezer, and that lets off like a foot of like ominous fog.
Yeah.
That fills the store.
Unreasonable amount of fog.
So Matt Cordell, instead of killing the bad guy, he kills the store clerk, the innocent store clerk, and gives a gun to the criminal. And the criminal gets death by cop. Suicide by cop, what they call it. Isn't that what they call it?
Well, I wouldn't even say he went suicide by cop because he just came. I mean, he came out the gun. He should have dropped the gun. 100%.
Yeah, Matt Cordell gives him this gun. It's like this.
Well, he shoot the clerk with. He takes the gun, shoots the clerk, and the guy's like, "Oh no!" And he's like, "Here's this gun back," kind of thing. And he's like, "But why?"
Yeah.
And the cop Maniac Cop takes off, and he hears the cops coming. He runs outside, and he's just screaming, "It wasn't me! Oh my god!" And
that's the cops' cue to open fire.
Not just they shoot the store, they shoot the guy. It's unreasonable amount of bullets to kill this man that wasn't even pointing the shotgun at them.
And they didn't know until they got inside it. Oh, he killed somebody.
Right. They had no idea.
They didn't know what was going on. They didn't know. They were just like, a guy with a gun, shoot him.
And just job well done, fellas. He killed a guy, apparently.
That's what they're always talking about. We need better training for our officers.
I mean, I like to think
practice some trigger control.
Yeah.
I'm surprised this movie hasn't been remade, honestly. I feel like it could get remade to be like a social, like,
oh no,
a name only kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like Maniac Cop 2, but it's like name only. So after that, we get introduced back to our old friends, Jack Forrest.
Yeah, his enemies, the Maniac Cop's enemies for whatever. You
Jack Forrest. Jack Forrest. We still get no clarification as to why Maniac Cop has this vendetta against Jack Forrest.
Yeah, Jack Forrest and Teresa Mallory,
a.k.a. Hooker Cop. Hooker Cop is back. Jack Forrest is back. And they are crying to the, the mayor or the police chief?
The commissioner.
The commissioner that, you never found Matt Cordell's body. Matt Cordell's still out there. Police chief denies it. And there's no way, nothing happened. There's no such thing as this Maniac Cop.
Right.
They completely deny it. And the fact this Maniac Cop in the previous film killed an entire precinct of cops, killed the previous commissioner and the police chief. But it never happened. No such thing as Maniac Cop. What are they pinning that? So what are they attributing all these deaths to in the first one?
I don't know.
He kills like an entire precinct of cops in the first movie. Much like he does in this one.
And you said they didn't show it?
No, it was...
Oh, boy.
It was kind of like a haunted house type deal. Like Jack Forrest and Hooker Cop come out of a interrogation room, and it's like they're walking through the halls of the police station. There's blood and stuff, and like every now and then, like a body pops out, or they come around a corner and there's a dead cop.
Well, they definitely made up for that in this one.
Oh, they go full on Terminator in this one.
So those two are getting put back on duty, but they have to go through the psychiatric evaluation first from Officer Susan Riley.
Yep, Dr. Cop.
Let's see. While Jack is content that Cordell is dead, Teresa is convinced that Cordell is still alive. Cordell, he's just fine to admit, they're like, okay, he's dead. We'll move on. And then and Lady Hooker Cop is just like, No, we know he's not dead.
Yep, she's adamant that it's something going on. So this right here, we get right to Jack Forrester's death, right?
Yeah, he goes to the newsstand.
Yeah, Jack Forrester goes to the newsstand. Apparently, he's on the cover because he's been vindicated of all the murders.
Yeah,
that's like the thing on the front page, like hero cop found.
Was he the
innocent.
one getting blamed for the murder?
He was. That was his main driving force in the first movie. Is that for whatever reason he would just something beat everyone to murder the cop was murdering people. Like it was like the Maniac Cop was trying to frame him, trying to incriminate him.
It's just that's so weird because that's weird that you don't know like why he was his enemy. Like
yeah, there's nothing like I haven't watched Maniac Cop 2. Like I mean I've watched Maniac Cop 2 probably like 3 times now, but I've only watched Maniac Cop 1 for one time because it's just not a very good movie. But from what I can recall, there was never, and I think that's a critique that all 4 of us brought up in the first review. There's no explanation as to why he is killing, why he's trying to incriminate Jack Forrest, and we never get any follow up on that in this one either. But Jack Forrest goes to a newsstand at night, ran by a blind guy.
Yep.
I can't imagine he does very good business.
I mean,
it seemed like everyone was like very, because like he had like a little sack in later scenes. He has like a little hat or something on his on the little newsstand, and people are kind of getting their newspaper and just dropping their money right into the.
I wonder
hat.
if that's his newsstand or if he just runs it for somebody else.
I don't know, but it did seem like the citizens were pretty do good about it, which is like rare for like New York, I guess.
That's in the 80s and 90s for sure.
Oh yeah, but Jack Forrest gets a knife baton through the throat.
Yep, knife baton through. Like he reading the newspaper, he holds the newspaper up. Like, even when he was raising that newspaper, I'm like, that's weird. Something's going to happen.
Yeah, the way he holds it up, he's like, he even said, like, he's like talking to himself. He's like, let's see what the newspaper says about me, or something. Like he's and like holds it up like a fucking like comic, like I don't know, like a cartoon. The way he holds it up,
and then Maniac Cop just stabs it through what's his name?
Jack
through Jack back of his neck, through the paper too, and blind newsstand guy comes over like, Jack, you all right?
and grabs the hand of Maniac Cop 2, which I was wondering where that was going to come into play. And it does a little bit. And you know what we call this?
What we call this?
That's an act of deforestation.
What?
Jack Forrest.
Oh my.
It's a classic case of deforestation.
I need you to quit doing podcasts with Eric. I just need that to stop as soon as possible. Because it's not good for this pod. This pod has slowly been declining the more you've done these with Eric.
Well, that's why we don't do that much anymore, I guess. That's why Cult of Campbell is in the state it is.
Oh, yeah. That goes on. Yeah, it says Jack is fatally stabbed by Cordell in order to protect the memory of Commissioner Pike, the corrupt official who originally framed Cordell. The police authority refused to inform the public of the nature of the recent events.
Yep.
I don't remember that.
So they're basically like covered up everything. Jack Forrest is dead. Now, Robert Davi in this movie sticks out like a sore thumb because you have cops, then you have Robert Davi. And Robert Davi is a trench coat, fedora wearing, smoking detective. You know, he's, listen here, dame, I gotta see about a broad, you see here? Like that's him. Like that's his character, and he sticks out like a sore thumb. It's like they took this noir detective and just dropped him in an 80s New York, which is a cool concept, but it sticks out like a sore thumb.
Well, how we're introduced to him is amazing.
Oh yeah. We cut to this little scene where this guy jumps out of a window, hits the top of a car, bounces off it, lands in an alleyway. As he stands up, his chest is blown open. One shot, no hesitation. And that's our hero, Robert Davi, as
Detective Sean McKinney.
Detective McKinney.
And that one shot was just enough for us to have our own running joke for the rest of this film.
He did it with such ease. That's the thing. He just like, bam. They're like, oh, you shot him. He's like, yeah. He's like, clean it up. He's like, you can take the blame, or you can take credit for somebody. He's like too much paperwork, and just walks off, lights a cigarette, and just walks right off.
It never mentions that again. Like, we don't even know what that person did.
We don't. It could have been like just some guy having a domestic dispute with his wife. We never
come back to that ever again. Actually, now I think about it,
some guy dodging parking tickets, something like that. I don't know. It could have been anything. He just fucking leaves a.
Yeah, we really have no closure on what was actually going on.
For
there.
all we know, it's some guy who just like fell out of a window. Like that's as far as we know.
Right. Let's see where my plot goes. I'm reading through a plot. I'm going to let y'all know. I'm just reading through the Wikipedia plot to make sure we're staying on track, folks.
So, Detective McKinney, he then goes to our character, Dr. Cop. And because after you kill somebody on the police force, you have to see the psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And he's very against that. He doesn't believe in this psychiatry stuff. He makes that very clear. He doesn't believe in this psychiatric bullshit. And we also learned that he had a former partner who killed somebody.
Yeah.
Refused to go to psychiatric help, and then later committed suicide.
And Detective McKinney, as we find out, says, I'm the one. Did he talk him out of it, or he just didn't encourage him?
He told him not to go. She even asked him, like, your partner never went to psychiatry, and he killed himself. And then later we find out the reason he never went to the psychiatrist is because Detective McKinley told him not to.
Kenny.
McKinney?
Yeah.
McKinney told him not to. So he is in turn responsible for his partner killing himself.
That's a discussion, I guess. Oh, we ain't gonna go that deep. Is that his fault?
Yeah, let's save all the deep discussion for something that's not Maniac Cop 2.
Yeah, we can find better times.
I think I have a pretty good idea of how this episode should go, and it's not diving into that.
We'll just for the sake of we'll make it McKinney's fault.
That's what's kind of implied. Well, he even says like, I don't feel guilty about it one bit or something like that. Like he has no guilt about it all because he doesn't believe in this psychiatry bullshit.
So where do we go after we get introduced to McKinney? He does a psychiatrist and all that.
I think we go to him accusing Hooker Cop of possibly being the one who murdered Forrest.
Right, because the commissioner wants her to be on her toes, wants her to be on the defensive. So he actually sent McKinney in there to identify Jack Forrest's body.
Yeah, he wants her on her toes because he doesn't want her going to the media because much like the first movie, because I believe they do this in the first movie as well, the police force does not want this getting out. They don't want the idea of a killer cop getting out.
Right.
And in the first movie, they don't want it coming out because they don't want people being afraid of cops. And when it does come out, a couple cops get killed by citizens.
Right.
That's like a plot point in the first movie.
Now, do we get the guy with the tow truck before we get Hooker Cop trying to escape New York?
Yeah, okay. We get that before. So, yeah, it cuts to this like random, like nerdy guy. He's apparently rich. It's on Broadway, I assume. I've seen like a cat sign in the background.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it's Broadway. And his car's getting towed by some cop. He's being a douche to the cop. And then Maniac Cop comes up behind him, whacks the cop one time.
One hit kill.
Throws him on the back of the tow truck and drives off. And the nerdy guy could not be happier. He rips his ticket up, doesn't react, rips his ticket up, throws it down, and his car is fine. His car didn't get towed, and everything worked out fine for him in the end.
But somehow...
But...
I still don't understand how they came across him.
I don't understand that. It like didn't amount to anything either.
No.
So it cuts to like a scene later, the cops arresting this guy, being like, you murdered him. And he's like, no, it wasn't me. It was some cop. He's 6'4", 6'3". And like, yeah, whatever. And they arrest him.
Yeah,
and then never comes
fucking believe you. Slaps him, throws him back to the cop car.
What I was expecting is later, when I was watching this, I was like, the first time, I was expecting like toward the end, when Turkel, who we meet later, is in that jail cell with like the ruffians, if that nerdy guy was just in there.
Yeah, that would have made sense.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen.
So then we get Hooker trying to get out of the city, right?
Yeah, New York City. No, she's trying to get she's going to appear on Criminals at Large.
Oh, yeah.
Criminals at Large is like, it's like tabloid show. And she wants to go on that and break the story of Matt Cordell. And she's trying to get Dr. Cop to come with her, get some credibility to it. No one wants her to break the story, and she tells her, like, I can't. They'll fire me. I'll lose my job. And she's like, well, at least come with me. So she decides to come with her, and from this point on, she's like terrified. Like she knows the Maniac Cop's after her at this point, right?
She was suspicious. Like while en route to the hotel in a taxi, Teresa is joined by Susan, and the two are attacked by Cordell. She was like looking out the back of the taxi cab and everything, and the cab driver was trying to take a shortcut, and she was like, "No, don't do it. Stay on the busy streets." She just kept looking behind her, but nothing was really warranted other than just her feeling that way because of Jack Forrest being killed.
Right.
So she was like, he's after us still. He's still alive.
Right. And they have a cab driver who's like, hey, sorry, ladies. I didn't mean to leave you waiting. He's like, I just went to the store to get some cigarettes. And I guess he like left his taxi cab unattended.
Yeah.
So as they're driving, he's like, I'm going to take the back way. And they're like, no, stay on the busy street. He's like, what's the big deal here?
And she flashes her badge.
She's like, oh, I know what that means. No tip.
Yeah.
And then they find that the front tire is starting to go flat.
Yeah.
And she tells him like, oh, no, keep going. Don't you see when you were in there getting cigarettes, someone messed with your tire? Because she knows it's all ploy by Maniac Cop.
Right.
The taxi cab driver was like, I'm not driving on my rim. I own this taxi. And he pulls over and he gets out and he's checking out the tire. And Hooker Cop just decides, fuck this. I'm getting out of here. She jumps in the front seat and drives off. Taxi cab driver's like, oh, use girl cops. And at that point, Maniac Cop in his Maniac Cop mobile runs completely over the taxi cab driver. And we have a fucking spark flying car chase through the streets. Very intense, yeah. So the whole time, the taxi cab shooting sparks, the fucking
all four tires. Did all four tires eventually get?
Yeah, and even like Maniac Cop, his Maniac Cop mobile start shooting sparks.
They were just sparks everywhere.
Sparks everywhere, and they're like doing this car chase through the streets of New York. Finally, they come to a crashing halt. Maniac Cop grabs Hooker Cop and tosses her through the window of a hardware store.
Like again, this is the first time in this one anyway I've watched. It's like the convenient like superhuman strength.
Yeah, he fucking tosses her. I thought she was dead. I was like, oh, that's the end of Hooker Cop.
Right.
He fucking tosses her ass through the window.
He grabs Susan,
Dr. Cop,
and drags Dr. Cop over to some other car. And
some other car. This one that has no fucking spark wheels.
Yeah, and just handcuffs her to the steering wheel. And at some point, the car is going. Like, it just starts rolling. Yeah. We'll get to that. But then Hooker Cop, she gets a chainsaw.
Yet she finds a chainsaw and does not say groovy.
You was hoping for a groovy.
I was hoping for a groovy. But it would have made zero sense. I think Evil Dead 2 comes out in 1989. So, like, this movie was probably in production for Evil Dead 2 really even, like...
Probably.
Was a thing. But, yeah, but still, interesting foreshadowing.
And then the car drives away with the Dr. Cop attached to it. Yeah. And she's standing there with this chainsaw.
Yep.
And goes at Maniac Cop and chainsaws his hand kind of.
Doesn't go through his hand at all.
He just grabs it and then
this is where we get after two films, we say goodbye. Hooker Cop.
Don't he just snap her fucking neck?
Snaps the bitch's neck.
That happened. Like
fucking snaps her neck abruptly. Just
because you're lightly saying that like Maniac Cop 2 is like a badass in this one, and like that was the first time I was like, well, goddamn.
Oh, he is fucking brutal in this.
He really is.
Maniac Cop 2 is a fucking savage.
I'm surprised they didn't make him snap more necks. I mean, he did it a couple times too. Yeah, so
we get two pretty good neck snaps.
They are good ones.
And then later in like the third act, he's just kind of throwing people to death.
Yeah,
gets where he just like tosses them when they're dead, kind of thing.
But then Hooker Cop just gets a good old neck snapping, and then we cut to somehow the car that the Dr. Cop is hooked to is just speeding. Down the street, barreling. It like just ramping over stuff. Her arm would be just torn off. There is not a chance that her arm would stay intact through all this.
So yeah, and it's like pretty interesting because it's like it's a stunt person.
Yeah,
on the side of this fucking thing.
Yeah, and this is why I started. This is why I started like Googling like how many stunt doubles died in the 80s. So I started Googling. I was like, God damn.
Fucking this goes on for a while. Her fucking it's like going down like some like down some like slope and fucking weaving through traffic because she's like also got control of the wheel. She's like kind of controlling the wheel, weaving in and out of traffic until finally she gets inside
after some douche like beeps at her.
Yeah, fucking people are like, "Hey, get the fuck out of the way!"
It's just like you see this person like they're not. What do you mean?
No, they're fucking blowing the horn like, "Hello, get in your fucking car."
Like this is not a fun thing to do.
Hey,
lady.
You dumb bitch! You're outside of your car.
This is why we should let women drive. They don't even know how. And she eventually gets in there just in time for it to crash, really. And that's when the authorities come and, the cops.
Yeah, they do a little gag where you see a white gloved hand reach out to her, and you think Maniac Cop is caught up to her, but no, it's just a regular cop, and he's like, "Hey, you all right down there?" So they take her away. Apparently, she just broke her wrist. That's all that happens to her. When she should be dead because this thing is fucking like ramping down like fucking street corners and shit. But she breaks her wrist and she's fine. She's still, even after breaking her wrist, gets out of the hospital, makes it to the set of Criminals at Large.
Was that all in the same evening?
Yeah.
Well, shit. And
from what I was able to tell,
well, no wonder the commissioner was cut off. Yeah, because even the commissioner was there. Dr. Cup was there. Was there anyone else on the panel? Because the host was there, but
the host, who was like a bat guy, you recognize if you've seen him. The host is there. The police commissioner,
he's commissioner now,
and Dr. Cup.
Because I guess that guy was like the captain in the last one or something.
No, he wasn't in the last one.
Oh, he just wasn't there.
No, he wasn't in the last one. The police captain and the police commissioner both die in the first one.
Okay, yeah. So this is like the new commissioner then. So they're on that show and they're like asking about these stripper serial killer. Because there was all these strippers being murdered and stuff. And they're talking about that. And then Dr. Cop brings up the fact that we need to talk about Cordell murdering people, like Maniac Cop. And the commercial is like, the fuck? Just caught him off guard altogether.
So she breaks the whole story about Maniac Cop. And they're also talking about this other killer who is killing strippers and prostitutes.
And that's when we cut to a guy in a strip club.
Yep.
And he's watching the TV.
Watching TV, and he's also very intently watching the strippers when they come along. So we have 3 strippers we get to see. We get 3 sets of boobs.
I forgot about the dead boobs. We didn't mention dead boobs.
We get dead boobs at the beginning, then we get...
for some reason when we was at Jack Forest, Jack Forrest, when we was looking at his, confirming his dead body, they just had some other woman laid out on his slab with her boobs exposed.
Yeah, just the whole time, the whole scene.
It was unneeded. But anyway, we're at the strip club.
Yeah, we're at the strip club, and we have, he's ogling this girl. There's one particular one. Apparently she's new or whatever.
Yeah.
He watched her dance for a while, and then we cut to her hotel room, I believe.
No, it's her apartment.
Apartment. She shares with a bunch of other girls. She makes that point. She shares with a bunch of other girls, and you kind of see the room is cluttered and a mess.
Yeah.
And she's talking to her mom, and she's telling her mom, and she's at college. She's telling her she's in college.
Yeah, the line, bitch. And Stephen Turkel is...
Stephen Turkel, who is our secondary villain. We don't have one Maniac Cop. We have 2. In this Maniac Cop 2. So Stephen Turkel busts through the window, right? Because he tries to get through the door at first.
Did he bust in or was he just there with her?
No, he busts in the window because he's trying to get into the door and he can't get in. So then he busts through the window, attacks her, and he's going to kill her. He's telling her he needs another 8x10 for his collection, which comes up later.
Yeah, because he killed 6 previous exotic dancers.
Yeah.
And he has her pinned to the floor.
She's telling him she called the cops.
Yeah. That's when he gets up, grabs the picture, and she tries to run away, drags her back down, throws her down.
Does he get away with the picture? Does he add that to the wall?
I don't think he does.
I was going to say, that'd be a little cheap if he added that to the wall.
Yeah, because I don't think he would want to anyway. Because even if he did get away with it, he's like, didn't get that one.
Right.
Because he's basically doing it because that's what he's talking to her and stuff. You could be on Broadway, you just shouldn't be stripping.
Yeah, so he's got this morality thing with him. He's upset that these pretty ladies are stripping.
Yeah.
When they should be, out,
Just that's his justification for killing him.
Yeah, so he's got this, he calls himself later a crusader of the night.
Yeah.
A crusader against evil or something like that. He has this morality about him. So he's trying to kill this fucking stripper, and she's telling him that the cops are coming.
And sure enough, the cops do come.
We get a cop. The cop comes, our first cop on the scene.
Yeah.
Is none other than our 6'4" zombified Maniac Cop.
He kicks the door open, don't he?
Yeah, busts through the door. He busts through the door.
And then 2 other cops show up.
Right.
And Maniac Cop turns on and just kills them.
Tosses them to death. And then Maniac Cop and Turkel make out through the window. And it's just a buddy comedy from this point on.
Yeah, it was very much like Step Brothers. Like, did we just become best friends?
Really? Turkel's like, hey, you aren't a cop. Like, you're fucking, I love this. You got a gimmick. And he's like,
you're the guy they're talking about on the TV. And just talking up Maniac Cop, just having a blast. He was super excited. And he's just like, hey, I got this nice apartment. No one ever really comes down there.
Yeah, he's like, I got some stuff I want to show you. You'll love it. And he tells him, like, you can come to my apartment. He's like, I ain't queer or anything. He has to specify, I ain't trying to fuck you.
And Maniac Cop just kind of pauses, keeps walking, just keeps climbing a ladder with him because they're like on the roof at this point. So they find their way back to Turkel's apartment, which is this. It feels like it's like in a pipe room or something.
It's something. It's like, because even like later, like when they come into it, there's like a water reflection. So I assume it's like some kind of like, I don't know. It's very interesting, whatever it is. It's an interesting little set. Which they always had stuff like that in like 90s and 80s movies where like, there's like apparently these just rooms around New York that no one like checks and like subways and shit where people shack up. So I don't know.
Maybe just a place where they gave cheap rent or something even.
I guess.
But we go into his apartment and then we see like the pictures of the ladies and it's like set in a cross form.
Yep. And they're Turkel's girls. He tells them like they used to be strippers and whores but now they're Turkel's girls.
Yeah.
They're here with me. They're Turkel, and he kind of explains the Maniac Cop. Like he has to do this, but he doesn't hear voices.
Yeah, it's nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy.
God angels ain't telling him to do it. He just knows it's like the right thing to do.
Right. And he tells Cordell, he's like, "Hey, can you write?" He's like, "I'm gonna get you pen and paper. I want you to tell me what to call you." And this is our first time getting to hear Maniac Cop speak.
Yeah.
He says, "Cordell."
He's like, "Oh, that woman was talking about you,"
which he said before. Like he already knew that.
He didn't believe it was actually Cordell. I think. I don't think people just kept calling him Cordell. He's like,
just another 6'4" cop killing people.
Yeah, just another 6'4" cop killing people.
Yeah. common mistake.
Well, I guess just verification. I guess like, oh, you are Cordell.
You are that 6'4" killer cop. I thought you was another one.
So he starts like asking like Cordell, like, what's his deal? And like, he's just talking and drinking. He's like, man, they did you wrong. Then we flash over to Cordell, who does like a flashback. And
I don't think this is the same flashbacks in the first movie. I think it's the same one, but reshot because we get the three guys that kill him in this, we get later.
Yeah.
And I don't think they would have had like the wherewithal to be like, let's get those guys back and track them down and shit to come back for these scenes.
Right.
I think they reshot this, but it's the same exact thing you saw in the first movie. So Cordell gets sentenced because he started like prying into stuff with the higher ups. He started uncovering corruption. So the higher ups, the police chief and police captain at the time, and the judge even went ahead and framed him for stuff, got him sent to jail, and then when he got in jail, the prisoners ganged up and killed him.
Yep.
So that was that's like the flashback. So we get our thing of Cordell. And what happens after that?
Turkel falls asleep. I think we just basically cut to Cordell getting up and just walking out in the morning. And Turkel's like, "Where are you going? You're gonna come back, right? Oh, you got things to do. Okay, well, I got things to do later too. I'll be back here. I'll see you." Just being like, "Oh, just like, please stay, my friend," kind of thing. That's very much, "Please stay, my friend," guy.
Yeah, he's Turkel is kind of like I know he's like a bad guy, but kind of sympathetic.
It's like, what happened to you, fella?
He's just lonely. He
was like a friend.
I got him. If he had a friend, would he be killing hookers?
He stopped killing hookers after he was friends with Cordell.
He did not kill a hooker, not once after meeting Cordell.
No,
that's a good observation. From the second he meets Cordell, he never once kills a hooker for the rest of the movie.
Granted, he tried to go do it here. We're getting to that where he tried to go do it again. I don't think we. The important thing is just be friends with someone so they don't kill hookers.
Yeah, if you want to kill hooker, just get a friend.
Yeah,
that's if you start thinking to yourself like, I really need to kill fucking whores, just go. What I really need is a friend.
Me and you both have stripper friends, and we're
and I've never wanted to kill them because I've got friends.
I mean, I guess that I've never thought about killing a hooker. That's
because you have friends.
I don't. Just save a hooker's life, please.
Save a hooker's life, get a friend.
Or a stripper's life, sorry.
Yeah, don't kill hookers, get friends.
No, I don't think we know where Cordell took off. I think we see him drive off, like we get to his car and drives off, but I don't think we have a conclusion of where he takes off to.
No, we don't see where he goes to. We see where Turkel goes to. It cuts to.
Yeah, it cuts to them going to a strip, Detective McKinney.
And I will say, so you mentioned like he tries to. I don't think he tries to because they go to that strip club, McKinney and Dr. Cop and stripper go to the strip club to try to find Turkel, and he just comes out of a room after getting a private dance.
That's true.
He didn't kill her. And he said, he's like, I enjoy this now.
A quick little sidebar. Something I noticed when we got in the strip club and started seeing all these women and naked boobs and stuff. It's like you can tell what era you're in a film by how the women look for some reason. Yeah. There's something about the shape of women between now and 80s and 90s. Like, why is naked women look different?
And me as a humble observer, I think the women of the 80s looked a lot better than the women of today.
I don't know if I feel sure. I mean, boobs are boobs, I guess.
They're very attractive women in the 80s.
But yeah, so they see Turkel come out.
They run after him. They catch him.
Yeah, because Dr. Cobb takes her cast arm.
Yeah, knocks him out.
Where she has her broken wrist and just BAM!
Yeah, knocks him out. And like McKinley's like, maybe I should get one of those. Like, right. She has a broken arm. Like, break your arm.
So then they get Turkel. They go lock him up.
Yeah, and he's telling him like, my friends will come get me. He's like, y'all are fucking up. My friends won't come get me. And they're like,
Cordell?
yeah, sure. And they're like,
he's like, your friend Cordell. He's like, you know his name.
Yeah.
How you know?
Like, he got real jealous. Like, you hang out with Cordell?
That's kind of what
he told me his name.
How'd you get his name?
Yeah, you fucking around with my friends. Well, I ought to kill a hooker right now.
And we get a peek at an early career inside this jail cell of Danny Trejo.
An unexpected cameo. Our first, if I'm not mistaken, our first Danny Trejo appearance on all of Cult Talk Net.
I can't think of any movie.
I am pretty certain that's our first spot of Danny Trejo.
And he's not starred or anything. He's just
there. He it's one shot.
He's just there. Listed as prisoner.
Yeah,
on the casting.
Yeah. They the camera like pans on him one time, no lines, stuff like that. But it's Danny Trejo.
Yeah, unmistakable.
Yep.
And then we deal with Turkel like singing in the jail cell, which is making the one guy really upset. And he's like, what'd he say? He's like, just basically tell him to chill out.
Yeah.
Everything quits singing. He's like, I can't wait to get to Sing Sing, which is what Sing Sing is where Cordell was locked up.
Yeah, it's the maximum security prison. It's like death row, I assume.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
Dr. Cop. In this time is like she gets in like her police uniform because she's like, I want to get back on the beat or whatever. So she goes and like doing shooting practice and stuff. She's gonna fire off some practice rounds.
Yeah, with her left hand.
She does that whole thing
because her right wrist is one's broken, which is her dominant hand, I imagine.
Yeah,
and she's shooting with her left, and a guy comes in like, that's a terrible shooting pattern. Like, well, yeah, I'm trying to train myself for you.
Yeah, he's like, maybe if you were as good as shooting your mouth off on the news. Like gives her one of those zingers.
Yeah.
And she bounces off. Well, as she leaves, a bunch of other cops are coming in to do their practice shooting.
And I think she goes just to like talk to Turkel, don't she?
Yeah.
She goes in there and then we watch all the other cops doing shooting practice. And then we get
from the shadows behind all these targets.
Just shots start blasting.
Yeah, all the cops get killed, and Maniac Cop has been from. I don't know much about shooting ranges, but I don't think there's a back door to shooting ranges.
I don't think so. I don't know where he would have got in there.
Which would tell me he's been there for like a while, like in like a very precarious spot.
I mean, I guess that's where he had to go earlier than wasn't he? He just went to the cop station and hid out in there.
I guess.
Expected Turkel to end up in there.
For what? Yeah, I don't know the logic here or how he got in there, but
he comes out and
I think that when watching Maniac Cop 2, you have to cease logic for very briefly. You can't think too much for Maniac Cop 2.
If you think too hard,
it's not a thinking movie.
It's definitely not 100% not a thinking man's movie.
But But Maniac Cop fucking goes on a spree.
A fucking rampage, bro.
He well, first thing he does is the gun. He used like a little revolver or whatever to kill the cops in the shooting range.
Yeah, the 4 in there.
And he puts that down. He gets some kind of like automatic, like compact automatic gun.
He's a good shot, by the way. He got them all just one shot, just bap, 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 bap. He goes and gets that other gun, and he goes in there with that gun, and he doesn't care about fucking doors at this point. He's just like, what's a door?
Does not give a shit.
And he just walks right through him, just shatters the glass.
Yeah.
And he just starts shooting people, don't he?
Just starts blasting.
So I start blasting, you see.
and like he just walks through these doors. There's a nice little shot I like that's very festive where he at one point just walks through a door with a wreath on it, and the wreath just lingers on his head for a moment.
It's enough to make it a Christmas movie.
That's Christmas.
It's 'tis the season for slaughtering a precinct. What do you do on Christmas?
Yeah, not as much fun as Maniac Cop.
It's not as
He fucking wrecks this place.
and he don't snap any necks in here though.
No neck snapping in this one.
He does have a superhuman strength moment where he picks a guy up and just throws him, and he goes through like 4 fucking walls.
Oh yeah, the police captain, I believe this guy is.
Oh,
the police captain. We've seen him a couple times. Yeah, he fucking tosses him like through 4 walls. And now I will say this little rampage, it's not as drawn out as Terminator, because Terminator has a pretty epic little police precinct siege thing, but it's pretty epic.
It's what they could do with their budget for sure.
Yeah, and it makes up for in Maniac Cop 1 where all this happened off screen.
Mm-hmm.
So at least we get to see it in this movie.
Yeah.
So
if I would have watched the first one, this definitely would have been watching part 2 would have been a nice payoff for that.
It is. And Maniac Cop 3
it really is brutal for what it is.
Maniac Cop 3 is a good wrap up to the series. In my opinion, there's 2 and 3. That's it. It's 2 and 3. You know, I ignore the first one. And much like I ignored the first one to Sharknado. I think that some movies just pick up on the second film.
I love when you been all upset about that. It's like 4 out of the 6 or 5 out of the 6 are good.
5 out of the 6 are pretty solid.
You're like 5 out of 6.
Did you just say 5 out of 6 are good?
That was hilarious.
But Maniac Cop 2 out of the 3 are pretty damn good. Right after he kills all the police precinct, he goes and he busts out Turkel. And he also gives Turkel like police clothes.
Yeah, they go down the hallway, and the one guy that was going to Sing Sing, they Turkel and they take him because they're going to take him to Sing Sing with his transfer papers.
Yeah,
and his name, we have his name here actually, Joseph Blum.
So throughout the movie, you've kind of been seeing that Matt Cordell is kind of like siding with criminals. And his big plan is to go to Sing Sing and let out all the death row inmates and make an army of criminals.
At least that's what Turkel believes.
That's what Turkel thinks.
And there's nothing to say otherwise.
No. I mean, from what I understand, Cordell's only said one word, and it was Cordell. And I don't think there was any part where he's like, "Here, this is what I do. Or this is what we're playing is." But that's what Turkel's idea is. Like this must be what they're doing.
Right. And they go and steal the transfer bus, which I'll get into this in a second. We hear them, they get in the bus. It's Maniac Cop. The guy's supposed to go to be Sing Sing. Turkel's driving the bus, and they have Dr. Cop in there as a hostage. They're using her as a hostage, really. And they start up this giant, it's a full-size bus, but for some reason sounds like a souped-up Honda Civic. For whatever reason, I'll never know.
But yeah, so this fucking souped up mega bus. Now this thing like plows through a barricaded cars.
Yeah, Turkel just yells "bumper cars" and just
bumper car. Yeah,
fucking smashes through.
And the bus, like Mike said, it just has that.
It just made no sense.
Like it's like it's a muscle car.
It's like the sound designer is like, I have this sound. Will this work? And they're just, it's fine. We're close to budget. It's fine.
Oh yeah.
Whatever you have will work.
Like I said, not thinking. You gotta turn your brain off when you're Maniac Cop 2.
And so they go on a little bit of a cop chase to get away, and McKinney and Doyle, the commissioner, are following. They, in their car, following them, but they take a different route.
Yeah, the longer route for some reason.
Well, McKinney's like, I know where they're going, so
yeah, let's take the longer route.
Yeah, I don't know why they took. I guess so he could talk to Doyle, really, because that's where he starts talking.
Yeah, because Doyle does kind of change the tide of things. So,
which I don't know how he found out. Like, well, he probably just came up with it since Cordell was still doing all this.
So, Maniac Cop 2, Maniac Cop and Turkel, they get to Sing Sing. The plan works out a hitch. They get in there, they present the papers, they get let right into the prison, and it's not until after they get in the prison that someone's like, "Hey, this don't look right." And they alert the warden. The warden's like, "Everyone on fucking high alert. Matt Cordell's here."
Good thing that one guy was on high alert.
Yeah, there's a guy sleeping with his back to some bars. Two hands come to the bars and snap. The dude's sleeping. That's like the worst part about it. Like he doesn't know he died. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but he just, the last thing he remembers, he fell asleep. And that's it. That's his last memory. Like, isn't that like terrifying to think that? I don't know what's worse. Is it worse dying that way or worse like dying seeing it coming?
Well, here's what I tell people all the time about anything. Like, man, I wish I don't die that way. I'm like, you're not going to remember it. It's fine.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You'll remember none of this. It's okay.
But still, it's just such a bad, that's an awful feeling.
Just our alive minds. Like, I'd rather not go that way.
You just go sleep. You just never wake up.
That's it.
That's terrible. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I think I'd like to see it coming.
I don't
know.
It's a rough one.
That is a rough one. I don't know if it would or not. That's probably the peaceful way to go.
Just fall asleep while supposed to be on guard, high alert.
Fall asleep on the job, this maximum security prison, then that's the last thing you remember.
You get a nice Maniac Cop that just comes and snaps your neck for you.
So Turkel and Maniac Cop, along with Blum, are now in the prison. Then we have Doyle gets on a megaphone.
Yep.
And he starts telling Cordell, like, we've reviewed your case.
We're reopening it.
The judge was crooked. The police chief was crooked. The police commissioner was crooked.
Basically, just admitting everything. I signed a letter of confession.
We're going to free you up. Like, what happened to you wasn't right, and all this stuff. And Matt Cordell like kind of changes his tune a little bit.
Yeah.
This turns into, which I assume this is what the whole plan was, anyways. Because, Turkel had it in his mind that, they're going to free all these inmates.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was just Turkel saying, really.
Yeah. But Maniac Cop, as soon as he gets in there, he ditches Turkel, and he goes into this, like, holding cell where the three guys who murdered him are. And he just kills the three guys.
In epic fashion.
Yeah, so he gets lit on fire. It's like a 4 or 5 minute long sequence.
Yeah, they're like, Cordell, and just distract him, and then some guy come up with a Molotov.
A Molotov cocktail. I don't know where'd they get the fucking Molotov cocktail in this maximum security prison.
Who knows?
So they fucking Molotov cocktail Maniac Cop 2.
Unfazed Maniac Cop.
Unfazed. And for about 5 minutes.
He grabs the first guy and basically just catches him on fire.
Catches him on fire, lets him burn. Grabs the other guy and like throws him to death.
Yep, just the throw to the wall dead.
Which is just fucking monstrous displays of strength.
Yeah.
And when we say like throw him against the wall, we don't mean like he just like, pushes him against the wall. I mean, it's like he chucks him across like the
across the hall 15 feet in the air.
Yeah, like it's brutal. Like it's brutal looking shit.
Mm-hmm. Maniac Cop is brutal through this whole thing. Like I don't think that's something you've sold enough to the guys. Like, this is a brutal Maniac Cop. Like,
I am so glad someone watches this. I am much like Matt Cordell got vindicated. I am vindicated.
We reopened your case, Tyler.
We reopened my case. You signed a letter of confession. You've been been misrepresenting me this whole time. Maniac Cop 2 is a solid fucking picture.
It's definitely worth a watch. Yeah. So he goes after the last guy, has to chase him down the hallway a little bit. And it's still a flame this whole time. How long would this see? This had to be like 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 minutes.
So who knows how long that guy was actually on fire in real time, even.
Yeah.
And because they had to do it multiple times.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
That poor stuntman. Right. Gets that last guy. I think he's like strangling him or something, but he gets on fire also.
Yep.
And then Turkel comes in.
Turkel comes in because when Matt Cordell like leaves to go kill these guys, Turkel's like, "No, don't leave me.
Yeah,
don't leave me. We have to do this or whatever." So he comes up behind Cordell. I think he have the
baton. I think.
The baton knife thing.
Yeah, it's either hit. Yeah, it'd have to be the baton knife because he wouldn't have his knife.
No, he has a baton knife and he stabs Cordell. Cordell grabs hold of Turkel and
they burst.
Yeah, he pushes Turkel out of through the brick wall.
They both fall through the brick wall.
Fall through the brick wall into the bus, which then explodes. I don't know.
It was so I don't understand where the explosion came from.
It's just this is some kind of super bus. I don't know what the fuel injection system is in this fucking thing.
Some Honda Civic nitrous.
For all we know, it's got NOS in it. For all we know,
it just explodes. It don't even explode from the engine. It explodes from the middle of the bus out.
It's fucking. And that's the end of Matt Cordell as we know it.
Cut to the funeral.
We cut to the funeral where he has a proper police funeral.
Yep, go be buried next to his fellow policemen and all that.
Yep, they do the flag. They have the color guard there. They do the whole little ceremony. The only two guests are McKinney and Dr. Cop.
Yep.
McKinney takes his flag for him, and then he kind of ominously looks around because you hear the sound of Cordell twirling his baton, which is a thing. I know you didn't watch the first one, Mike. That's Matt Cordell's thing. He would walk the streets and twirl his baton.
Ah, okay.
So he hears the sound of Matt Cordell twirling his baton, and he takes the badge, Matt Cordell's badge, tosses it into the casket. They walk off. McKinley has this monologue about Matt Cordell and every cop. Anytime they know some crooks will get out.
Yeah, he's something about how justice and pressure are the only differences between a cop and a maniac cop.
Yep. And then we cut to the casket where the badge is, and Matt Cordell's hand bursts up to there and grabs it.
But that was a good jib shot.
Yeah, very good jib shot.
That was long distance right there. But yeah, just bust through, and then cuts away. And then we get our fabulous...
Bam, bam, bam.
You know what? These people will hear a little bit of this. They have to at least hear the beginning of this song.
You're going to guess copyright stroke? Copyright strike.
Fuck them.
Jay Chataway is going to get us.
Jay Chataway, who has almost 4,000 monthly listeners. And he just had a 2020 album release as the original motion picture soundtrack.
You know what? I wish we had 4,000 monthly listeners.
Yeah. So just know there's an original track.
Yep, Maniac Cop is an original.
All by this Jay Chataway.
Yeah, kudos to you, Jay Chataway. He did good on the soundtrack.
Yeah, he did the whole album.
Yeah.
He did. So that's what's weird. That's what's even crazier to me. It's he did that Maniac Cop rap, but nothing else in this film was hip hop rap or anything.
No, urban, I guess, urban. But let's talk about what we're here for. The reason that Cult of Campbell has been resurrected for Cultober. Let's talk about the quality of Campbell.
Good. Bad. I'm the guy with the gun.
Quality Campbell. Our first Quality Campbell of Cultober. Our first Quality Campbell since summer.
Yep, since some time. Yep.
Yeah, been some time.
And it had to be Maniac Cop 2.
Had to be Maniac Cop 2. And it's I'll go and say it's not going to be a good one. As far as Quality of Campbell goes, I mean...
Well, I guess let's say, okay, so we didn't get a lot of Campbell in this. So how good? And I know I like Eric's point is it's not about the quantity, it's the quality.
Yes, and I don't think the quality or the quantity matched up on this one for me.
Just didn't at all.
Not on this one. No, yeah, I gave this a not groovy when we reviewed it back the first time.
The first one.
Well, no, we also did quality. Yeah, right. we did quality for the second one as well.
Nice. Okay.
I just wanted an excuse to watch Maniac Cop 2 again. So, but
you didn't know you was gonna have a victim with you, but
no, a victim, a victim.
That's what the rest would say. They all avoid this like the plague.
Well, I'm glad me and you were at least team Maniac Cop 2, right?
I'd watch it again, 100%.
That's all I need to hear. That's all I need to hear, man.
Yeah,
that's all I need to hear. I've got Bubba Hotep. And I got Maniac Cop 2 now.
And again, it's on Tubi. I mean,
for free.
Yeah.
Now, see, the thing about Tubi is Maniac Cop 2 and Maniac Cop 3 are on here, not Maniac Cop 1.
Well, what the fuck?
You don't need it. You don't need Maniac Cop 1. That's what I'm saying.
Tubi knows what's up.
They know what's up. A lot of movies like this, and this is something I always find very troubling with films, and it happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Where I can give a number of examples of times it's happened where you have a movie come out, it's subpar,
mm-hmm.
then you have a sequel that's really good, but unfortunately, you're trying to watch things canonically.
Right.
You watch the first one, like, man, that wasn't that good. Why would I watch the second one? Happens a lot. Sharknado. Happens with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies, the Michael Bay ones.
That's fair.
It happens a lot. I would say a recent example, and I can't say for sure, but the Meg that came out recently, that movie is pretty bad. But from what I understand, they're like ramping up the second one. I mean, this happens quite a bit. It's very troubling, and this is something that happened with the Maniac Cop series. I feel like we could have a Maniac Cop franchise had the first one performed as well as this, been as good as the second.
So you're sticking with your not groovy on the Quality of Campbell?
Yeah,
though?
Quality of Campbell. We always say, we're not rating the movie, we're rating the Quality of Campbell. And there's been some times where we gave some very shitty movies groovies because the Quality of Campbell is there.
Right.
This is a reverse to where I'm giving a fantastic film, a cinematic gem. I am unfortunately going to give it a not groovy because the Quality of Campbell is what we're taking into account. And I did not enjoy the Quality of Campbell. Like, I did not enjoy it, but it just wasn't there for me. There was nothing Brucey about it. He doesn't have any Bruce lines. He doesn't ooze any machismo. Bruce is there to fill the obligation of the first movie, but he doesn't bring anything extra to this. So I'm giving Maniac Cop 2 a not groovy.
I think I'll probably have to share the sentiment. There's really not like a standout Bruce moment other than what came from. Because would you guys give first Maniac Cop? Was that groovy? Or
not groovy.
Not groovy. Because the most memorable thing is where he busted out of the back of that truck van or whatever, and that's wasn't a Bruce moment either.
No. I would argue that Jack Forrest is the worst Bruce character. I'd argue that. I know you haven't seen the first one. He's just a shitty fucking character.
Of course, I haven't watched Man with the Screwing Brain or Minnow's Mind either.
I guess Minnow's Mind is kind of there.
it's a hard competition.
Shitty. But at least in that one, he does he has a little bit of charisma.
For the little bit of Bruce we got, there's not a Bruce moment.
No,
really.
He was in this to fill the obligation of the first movie, but Maniac Cop 2 though.
But like you said, at least they had him back, so they did.
They did. They didn't have to either. I mean, they really did not have to.
No,
but they did, and I appreciate that. They did. They wrapped up these characters, Jack and Hooker Cop.
Because did he jump out of the? Did he go in the water? Yeah, he went.
Yeah, he went in the water. That's you were like, who's that in the water? It was Bruce.
So they could easily just say like he died in that crash and just moved on.
They could have even just not even mentioned it. Like, hell, it's a sequel. Like, how many characters come back in horror movies?
We would just opened up with Detective McKinney just shooting the guy that was running away from parking tickets.
Right.
And we'd been just fine.
Right.
Just, we just understand the kind of world we're in.
Right.
But yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think we're going to share that where it's not groovy. But for the film, watch the film. Just
watch Maniac Cop 2.
Just watch. I didn't watch the first one, so I can't. I don't know how hard it is to talk someone into watching part 2.
You can skip Maniac Cop 1. Maniac Cop 1's not that good. I really enjoyed watching it because it was Ian, Eric, Urs, and myself. So it was a fun time watching it.
Yeah,
but
y'all sound like you had a blast for sure.
But it's still hands down my favorite episode of Cult of Campbell, Maniac Cop. But Maniac Cop 2, great film, and unfortunately, I don't think I'll ever be able to get the guys to watch it.
I might try to help you. I'll at least talk it up. That's the thing. You can't tell them to watch. You just can be like, yeah, there's these cool things.
Yeah,
Danny Trejo's in there.
Danny Trejo's in there. Maniac Cop's looking brutal.
You don't tell them in what regard that's the thing. I give them details like, oh, he was in the prison scene. You should watch it. Just.
It's a good movie.
We might get the guys. We'll work on it.
You can work on it.
It's on Tubi for free. It's not even a hard sell. It's like they don't have to rent it.
No.
Just push play.
It's an hour and a half. It's easy to watch. Maniac Cop 3 is shorter. Maniac Cop 3 is like an hour, 5 minutes or some shit.
And it's like, you know what? Just skip the first 10 minutes even.
Yeah.
And just get to where McKinney shoots the parking ticket evader. And just go from there.
Yeah.
That's a good start. That should be how that film started.
Yep, it should have, but they gave us the extra Bruce, and I applaud them for that. But it just, as far as groovy, not groovy, the criteria goes, it's not groovy for me. But
not groovy.
But that does not disparage my. I know, like Ben's like, "Hi, you gave it a not groovy." Well, I did because the Quality of Campbell's there. But that does not change my opinion on the film. Right. The film is solid.
Yeah, because if y'all look at Terminal Invasion.
I know we haven't watched Terminal Invasion.
What's the Alien Apocalypse?
Alien Apocalypse. Bad movie. Good Bruce.
Yeah.
Maniac Cop 2, a terrific movie. Bad Bruce.
Bad Bruce.
Yeah. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Certified not groovy.
Yeah, unfortunately, Maniac Cop 2 does not meet the criteria to be groovy in the Cult of Campbell sense.
But
it's a fucking good movie.
Do I have to watch part 3 sometime?
I think we should.
I might do part 3.
We don't have to do it for Cult of Campbell.
Part 2 is good enough for me to wonder about part 3.
Part 3 is a good end of the series. It's a really they put finality. They end Cordell.
Nice.
Yeah, it's got all of our characters from this movie.
I'm sold on part 3. I'll watch part 3 sometime.
Yeah, all right. Me and Michael, I'll find a reason for us to do it. We'll figure out some reason to do Maniac Cop 3.
Be a loose one, but
maybe.
Is Bruce Campbell a producer?
I mean, it's early enough where maybe it'll be like some kind of Cultober fucking special.
Just spring it up. Do a side.
Drop it on a fucking Tuesday.
Just do it on the Sci-Tie Saturday.
I do need no. Sci-Tie Saturday has strict rules.
Well, look out for Sci-Tie.
Sci-Fi Saturday they have to have been sci-fi originals.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I've but maybe fucking one Saturday or one Tuesday, because we have Tuesdays and Saturdays pretty much open through Cultober, or Sundays and Tuesdays.
We might just drop a Maniac Cop 3 special.
Me and Mike watch Maniac Cop 3. Don't quote us on it, but
we'll see what happens.
We both enjoyed it.
We might get the guys. I'll try to get the guys.
You can't watch Maniac Cop 2, but
get them to watch part 3. Then like, what the fuck did we miss the part 2?
Yeah, there we go.
But yeah, solid flick, Ty. Solid flick.
Thank you. That's what I need. I need some validation. We got it.
You always like when one of your favorite films gets some validation.
Yeah, because everyone's always like, "Oh, Ty only likes shitty movies." No, I like good movies. They're just hard to explain.
Yeah, because
Maniac Cop 2, watch it if you want to enjoy a good cheesy action horror movie. Maniac Cop 2 is it.
Yeah. And they fill you in from the first one. Skip the first one. Part 2.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch part 3 later.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think that's it. This is our return of Cult of Campbell here for Cultober, and I'm glad to be back. I'm glad we have the Cult of Campbell theme song playing. I feel right at home here, and I'm just glad to be back for Cultober. And I hope everyone had a good summer. Keep it here on Cult Talk Net. Cult Talk Net across the board. That's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok for a little bit every now and then.
I think we're trying to do better at TikTok.
I'm trying to do better at TikTok. We have a TikTok.
It's there.
We have it.
I'm afraid because you run the TikTok. You have it on your phone.
Yeah.
I'm just afraid of what that feed looks like that you just scroll through.
It's a mess. It's a mess.
Have you started hearting things? You've been hearting
I heart things.
Oh my God. It's really just
a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah. That's kind of a real. I'm glad I'm not in that group chat anymore.
Yeah, if you have to log on to the TikTok to do anything, Mike, just log in, do it, and get out.
Just back out as quick as possible.
Do what you got. Get the fuck out of the TikTok. That feed is not anything you want to linger on. It's not for everybody.
You come across my sister on there yet?
I've not. I will steer clear of that.
She is on there. Be careful.
If anyone wants Mike's sister's TikTok, DM us. He'll hook you up. DM us on Instagram. But yeah, at Cult Talk Net across the board, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook.
You know what I've been thinking about lately? How lucky we were to just have at Cult Talk Net on damn near everything.
Oh yeah. Well, it's not
our website's not really active right now, but we have culttalknet.com.
Oh.
Like, that's not taken.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's not taken. Like, we have this across all. That's how lucky we were with this.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that recently.
Kudos for me for thinking of that name.
Yeah, good to go.
I did good on that. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Enjoy Cultober. A lot of stuff in the works. It's a whole month.
They heard our opener by now, right?
Yeah, you've heard. Yeah, Scream came out. The first episode of Sci-Tie Saturdays is out. Man Thing.
Does Cult of Lore come out this week?
Cult of Lore does come out. And they have something special for you guys there. I think I'm not sure what it is.
They might change them. I'm not sure what they got going on, but I do know they have a Cult of Lore. They're taking a break from Warhammer for one episode, Warhammer 40K, to do a special Cultober episode for their short. Because they have like a short one comes out in the month and a long one that comes out in the month.
And this Friday, the Cultober exclusive is The Descent. So buckle up, guys. Cultober's in full swing. Thank you for joining us here on Cult of Campbell, and feels good to say it. Don't forget, in case you guys have forgotten, because it's been a while, don't forget, stay groovy.
Hail to the king, baby.
That's the best you got?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
I requested a refund on iTunes.
For what? The porn?
No, it like randomly charged me a premium Tinder membership. $32 for a fucking app I don't even fucking use.
Well, you got Grindr, which is free.
Well,